Really, really nice to be here. It's nice to be in Canada. So I'm Caroline. I'm owner of Pumpkin Queen since 2017. I've been working with the bees since I was about 16 years old. I'm from Quebec, so that's the thick French accent. Cannot get rid of it. So I study in Quebec, and I was doing bees on the side like as a summer job. At 16 years old, so I started learning about them, and I really fall in love with the bees. So basically, when I was done with my bac, I studied to be a lawyer in Montreal. When I was done with my bac, the company I was working with in California to learn queen breeding, etc., was going to sell the company. So I decided to just took over. So I've been with Pumpkin since day one. So now I'm in California, but the vision of Pope stayed the same. So we're really trying to breed genes that are adapted to Canada. We're just using the temperature of California, the weather that is perfect to produce early and for the long season of queens, but we are focused to keep the genes and the selection for adapting. We realized through the years that, yes, our first goal is Canada, the harsh winters and everything, but we realized our queens are thriving in other environments that are also having harsh temperatures, sometimes drought. Our bees are really resistant to the lack of food, so they're very food sensitive. So we are now breeding them for different weather. So, yes, we're boutique queen breeder too. We are considered as a small beekeeping production in California. These guys are, these guys produce hundreds of thousands of queens per year. So we're still boutique. We like to talk with our clients. We love the feedback, and we love to adapt to whatever is needed from you guys. So very open to feedback on the queens and everything. So to start with, I'll talk about the breeders a little bit. So we're gonna go over queen production in general, the way that I'm doing it. We will have, I'm not gonna go on every single step of queen breeding, but what I think make us a bit apart with the quality of the queen. So we're gonna focus on these aspects. Our queens, we like to say, so what I'm selecting for and what I'm working for is resilient and hardy bees, exceptional honey producer. Yes, they can be both. The resource I have the hard time with that word.
Conservationist.
Thank you. Adaptive to varying environment and resistant to disease, obviously, producing of a healthy brood, and propolis builders. So this is the aspect I'm working on. I think every single of these aspects are good for Canadian beekeepers, but also for any beekeepers. We also are adding this year longevity, because we've been selecting our breeders for, they're 3 years old when we start to breed from them, which is pretty old. So it put me in a pinch. I don't have enough larvae to graft, but it's really good that the queens are older. So I select them over 2 to 3 seasons before they become our breeders. Just cute picture of our bees, queens. Don't say a lot, just that they are beautiful. How do we select? So I don't know if you see anything wrong with that pattern. It's beautiful pattern. Obviously, it says, inbreeding is not a problem. It's something we're really fighting for. We're adding different genes in our livestock every 2-3 years. The genes we're adding will bring a threat of our genes that we are that we want to add to our livestock. There is some genes I want to add to my livestock that I cannot in California monitored. So let's say propolis building, super important for California, Canada, and colder weather. In California, I have a hard time to manage a propolis, so that's the gene I will collaborate with other beekeepers to introduce. So the propolis example, we were with Suko Bee. She has a Caucasian bees that we introduced a couple of years, and that brought the propolis thread. So on that brew pattern, it's super healthy, happy. The problem I'm having in this is the food conservative aspect is not what I'm looking for. Yes, it's nice to have brood to brood, corner to corner, but this kind of pattern went to starvation of the hive when there is not enough resources. So we're trying to find things more like this, where the brood is still very tight, very beautiful, but there is that nice 2-3 inches of pollen and the honey on the outside. So for us, it's more important that the bees are sensitive to what's coming in their hive nutrition-wise than producing brood until everybody's starved. So that's the point. So we love to see things like this, you know. It's easy to select hive with pollen production. Propolis, I was telling you, so that's where, you know, we do collaboration with other people who can really like. I love propolis, not just for the sealing of the hive in the cold weather. A lot of last research propose that propolis is actually even helping with mites, but every type of virus. So propolis is an amazing gene to follow in your hives. Obviously, when I have a natural way to select my hive, what I want, but I'm always backing with science. So here you have a picture of hygienic behavior. I know I need to do the needle test. I'll work on it. But we have people coming in and running the hygienic test that's needed to make sure that the bees are filling up all the boxes, basically. So that's how we select for the trade we're talking. Obviously, we also select with our amazing customer. This is one of my amazing customers. His name is Phil. On that comment, he has a full frame of honey that says Pope, hell yeah. And he said, these one of the only one making honey in Nevada this year are the one we got the sale from you. Thanks, by the way, we're done. So that was big for me to work with my clients. That's the message from this, you know, if they can compare our queens to other, and we can tell them, hey, I'm a queen really like good honey producer, because in California, we have couple flow, you know, nothing impressive. So how do I select? Well, I have people all around the world, all around North America that can help me with that. And it's very important to have the feedback from these people. So that's another way to make sure that all the boxes are checked. So we'll go over a couple of the step of grafting, of queen breeding. And we will see what set apart a bit Pope with other breeders. So obviously grafting, I think the important is the size, the roll jelly fruit versus the speed. It's these three elements that will make you having a graft that is successful, okay? So how we do it is we're making sure basically that our breeders are ready to have the right size of larvae, which we believe is 12 hours. I know it's super small, but we have some tricks to make sure that the larvae are super juicy, easy to scoop out of the frame. So this is the size we're trying to get. So that's cool, we can zoom. So super young, you know, you see that little half moon croissant. That you can still see through the larvae. So this is where I'm aiming for grafting. And why is like, think about when a hive is queenless and they want to make their own queen. They will select one of the biggest larvae possible. Why? It's because they're in the danger of dying. They're queenless. And then that queen's going to be born, going to do a couple cycles of brood just to bring back the colony. And then what happened? They supersede her, and they replace her with the queen that they have time to raise properly. And that's that way of thinking, if you take a larvae that is too big, then you're kind of in that same pattern where your queen has a chance to supersede way later down the road.
So it'll make a smaller queen?
Not a smaller queen. It will make a queen that will not last as long. Yeah. So I like to select my frame in the morning of my graft with some eggs that are almost turning, and then we stack them over a brood bank, queenless brood bank with a lot of bees. Stack my graft over it, so even the larvae is super small, there's enough juice for me to go grab it. And it's that relation that is hard with grafting. How do you not graft so big but still have the food necessary for a quality queen? So that's one of the very important step of the queen breeding. So we cage our queen. I don't know if you ever heard of that, but 3 days before my graft, I have cages that I can put on the frame with an empty frame, perfect comb. And I can cage my queen where the bees can go in, but not the queen. So she stays on that frame, and 3 days later, I have the perfect frame for grafting. So there is a whole system to make sure that I have the quality larvae necessary for grafting. And when you graft 2,000 cells a day, 5 days a week, you need some trick to make sure that you're consistent. This is me grafting. I guess I'm just showing off that I can graft in a truck. But so the truck thing is, we have what we call we have a poisonous bloom in California, the buckeye. So when the buckeye get into your cell builders, they get high, literally, and they stop producing queens. So sometimes we have to move the cell builders away from that bush, and we have to graft in the truck by that time. So the technique of grafting, it's all up to you. You know, I like the light. Some other people like the headlight. As long as you're comfortable to do your thing for multiple hours. So yeah, graft, first step, very important, size of the larvae. And the speed, I didn't talk about the speed much, but I have a lot of people coming to me that start grafting, and they're like, hey, my cell builders are fine, my larvae are fine, there is food, why my graft is not like accepted? And most of the time is the speed. If you take too long to put it in the cell builders, they dry a bit and they get rejected. So this is a fine line between all of this. We have the chance to have a runner. We can also have a amazing person next to me that bring my larvae in the cell builders as soon as I'm done grafting. So this is that balance between food, dryness, and size of the larvae that will give you a successful graft. Cell builders. Cell builders, second step, the stimulation, the control of the population, and the varroa control, adequate source of nutrition are all challenges and goals that are super important to raise quality cell. So in our business, we do queen right system. So I don't think the queen right system is it's kind of known in Canada. So you guys have that, during that time of queen production, that honey flow coming in very strong. So you can basically graft into a hive that has a queen, right? In California, they use a queenless cell builder style. So it's basically sheet of brood, 5, 6, 7 pounds of bees on top of them. You introduce your graft, and you every week, every 10 days, every time you graft, you just add bees and you just add brood. It's easier, less technique, but it requires a lot of resources from your hive. Brood, bees, nonstop. I'm not a fan of the queenless for the same thing as we talked earlier. So queenless cell builders are into an emergency biodynamic to raise a queen cell. So the goal is just to raise the cells so they can survive. You can call me hippie if you want, I'm fine with it. I really think the queen right cell builder, the biodynamic of the hive is totally different. They're building the cells because they're happy, healthy, there is a flow, nutrition coming, in a population that say, hey, we're so happy, we want to swarm. And this is where I want my cell builders to be. I want them happy. I don't want to restrain them to an emergency cell. I want them to thrive so much that they are like, yes, we will build your 45 cells and your 60 cells, and they're going to look pretty, and we're happy about it. This is very where I want to be.
Can you explain the difference? So you said there's a queenless hive that you put them in versus
yes,
that's healthy with a queen that's going to like start full swarms.
Yeah, so the difference is between here, the cell builder queenless has no queen, just bees, resources, nurse. You graft in it, you're pretty much done. The queen right cell builder, you have a queen, so it's not exactly that setup, but I didn't have a picture. So basically you have a queen on the bottom here with the queen extruders, so she cannot go upstairs. And upstairs is a bit different than what you see there, but you have two graft, 2 frame of open larvae and pollen, and you graft in that box.
So you do the grafting and then you put those in there.
Correct. The difference is in California, we realize that this doesn't work all the time. We're not able to bring that dynamic of swarming strong enough. So sometimes they don't draw the cells. So what we've been doing, which is kind of an we adapt between the two systems, is our queen right system. We will take the box on the bottom in the morning of the graft and take it off the pallet. So what does it do is your top become queenless just before you graft couple hours. So you have that queenless need. And then the box that you took with the queen on the side, it's on pallet like you see, so you have a pallet next to it. All the bees drift back to their original home, and that creates that biodynamic that we want to see of swarming, because you basically have two boxes to super into one within a couple hours. Then we graft into it, they accept it beautifully because there is no queen, and then the next morning, 24 hours later, we put them back together. So now the nurse in the bottom with the queen can all go up and feed our larvae. So that's how we adapted to have still the queen right system biodynamic, but adapted to the environment of California.
Sounds kind of manipulative.
It is. It is.
How does she do that you've taken off? How does she do?
She has plenty of bees to still take care of her. The nurse won't fly back, you know. The bees that are flying back are old bees. They're not even feeding, but they are creating that energy in the hive to accept the cells. She does fine. I would not let her alone more than 24 hours. Yeah, at some point. Also, our cell builders, we retire them every 6 weeks to give them a break. So this is totally different. Most of people just run them the whole season to the ground. I just can't wrap my mind around that. So we retired them after 6 weeks. So they did amazing for us, and we bring in a new set of cell builders because it is stressful manipulation.
So you would move that box a short distance away from where the original hive is?
Like literally a couple of feet.
Yeah.
Yes, like sitting, yes. So the drift is there, and the queenless is there, and it's a bit also a mix of clock board. If you know the clock board thing, it's a board that you close between your two boxes, so become queenless, and then you turn your entrance. It's a bit of that. And that's what's important traveling, because when I came into that problem of my queen right not taking the cells in California, I worked with a clock board in Chile, and that's where the idea came from to work this way. So yeah, I am a highly fervent of queen right cell builder system. You are correct. It's a lot of manipulation. I have only few beekeepers that work them, and they know the cell builders by name. So that really helps. Queenless, it's a little bit easy. The steps are easier and more forward, you know, straightforward. So it's a bit easier for people with less experience. There is pros and cons on both sides. Yeah.
Quick question. First of all, I want to apologize for my entrance.
No worries.
When you make this manipulation, you have a lot of older bees that are
Correct.
floating back.
Uh-huh.
Now, does that create a problem for starting your cells by not having the young nurse bees in as the majority of the population?
Well, we have the young bees because what I didn't say is the week before, the couple days before grafting, we are taking open brood from the bottom and we're putting it up. So all the nurse bees we need next to our graft. So all the nurse bees come up. And then we put them back together. So we let all the nurse bees going to feed this. So I have my nurse bees. Then I separate them. Then the old bees are not there to create a better cells. They're there to create a feeling of swarming. And that's for acceptance, the amount of cells that will be accepted. But they are not part of feeding the cells with nutrition. I have my nurse bees for that. It's two different, the two different age of bees has two different purposes in that manipulation. Yes.
And getting them started is not as critical to have all young bees inside of the queenless unit when you first graft.
No.
No.
But you will, I will do that in the morning of the graft. So majority of the bees will have, it takes, my opinion, it takes a little less than what we're talking for queenless. You know, if I crack my hive in the morning at 7 o'clock, I'm able to graft at 12 and it's totally queenless.
Right,
So,
okay, thank you.
yeah. Super important for cell builders and along the whole way of queen breeding is nutrition. So we have our own recipe of pollen. We have different recipe for different manipulation. So for cell builder, it's pollen that is for stimulation, not to feed necessarily. These hives are getting fed all the time. They're not hungry. But it's create that stimulation of a honey flow, of happiness with the essential oil, the amino acid. So that recipe is a quick boost, a lot of essential oils, super like smelly for bee guts, you know, trying to help them, support them into their hard job of raising our cells. Our protein patties for the hive are higher in protein. They're different, they last multiple days on the hive. So we have a recipe adapted really for what we're doing, depending where we are in the manipulation, okay?
You make those.
Yes, we make those. We have a big, my husband is a chef. He used to be a chef, so he gathered things, and one of them is a big flour mixer, and that's what we use for pollen patties. Is see, collecting stuff sometime out of the garage after 5 years. I can use that. Okay, now we seg our breeder. We grafted juicy, amazing larvae. They got accepted in our cell builders. They raise these beautiful cells. What's next? Next is handling these royal cells. Okay, so A problem we can see, I mean, on a smaller production, it's not really a problem. On a big production where we manipulate about 2,000 cells a day, there is a problem with temperature, handling of the cell and temperature shock. So I was raised with OG beekeepers to put the cells and crank the heat of the pickup and drive quick to the yard. And I mean, it was a terrible result, but we decided to go a little above that. So that's me very tired. And then I'm tired and somebody's telling me, hey, I chill all the cells or I cook them. They're introduced and I hate it. So we finally decided to invest in a beautiful incubator. So this is overkill for an incubator, but it really helped with a lot of problem of temperature control. We found it on an auction. We didn't pay full price. So after that upgrade, because we had an incubator, obviously you can, I'm making joke, but you can make a decent incubator with a light, and you just have to control it way more. You have to be always on it. And now we have technology where you can have a thermometer in your incubator and you sit in your kitchen or you're on your phone, you know. And I think we should take advantage of technology. So after that, we're okay. The cells are now stable in the incubator. By the way, my cells are pulled out at day 9 or 10 max. I know a lot of people pull them out at day 5 when they're closed, and I have no problem with that. It's not, but the bees are really good at keeping their temperature at the temperature they want to, better than I am. So I let them do the most of the work that they're really good at until I have to take them out. So that's so day 9, sometime day 10 we take them out. Then you're like, well, what is this? This is again my amazing husband that built us a mobile incubator. This is a big igloo chest with a system here, you can see, with fan, and I'm laughing because I have no idea what he did. But basically I'm the beekeeper, you know. It keeps the temperature control again in that chest. So that allowed us to put the cells from the big incubator to this. There is heat coming here and there is temperature on here, and I have it on my phone. So it allowed me to bring it to the yard to my people. If we're catching 1,000 whole or sides, whatever you want to call them, for queens, to have the cells in the yard for even when it's warm for a couple hours, we were not comfortable with that. So we brought our mobile incubator. So we're sure that the cell keep at the right temperature throughout the whole process. And for us, it was a big improvement. I think every year there is a week that the cells are chill, cook, or stressed out. Talking about nutrition, that's the last of the thing I cannot explain you, but I can show you. This is a syrup tank, so we're making our own syrup, even on a beekeeping industrial level. We are making all of our own syrup. We're buying super bag of sugar. It goes in there, and then that make heat, and then water come in, and it mixed. And we can control exactly the percentage of sugar, depending what we are using it. If we use the sugar to feed or for stimulation, they can be more liquid. So that improved a lot, the wax building, the cleanness of the feeder. We know that, to not name some company, the big company are not known to really store the syrup in a safe way. So we decided to just go and do it yourself. And I know there is huge beekeeper in Alberta that make their own syrup from the scratch, and it's amazing. We're talking about the pouring process. By pouring process, I'm talking about how we start these 4 ways. So we're using the wooden 4 ways as our nooks to raise our queens. They are a box like big as a shallow. There's divided in 4, and there is a possibility of 4 queens in these. We tried the mini styrofoam thing, but you know, the wind kicked them out, and the raccoon ran away, and the cow chewed on them. So we went back to the good old wood. We've been working on that for a long time. We have air hole control. We have insulation plastic. Pulp is really trying to be on another word I have a hard time, sustain. So we like things that last.
Sustainable.
Yeah. And so that match for us in the fact that these bees, we pour them in March, and these nooks will with the right amount of fixing and the right amount of care will last us until July. So this is very important for me. I don't like the system where you bring back the nukes and you let them die, basically. I cannot get behind that. So I really like this. Next video is a little quick video on how we pour the bees, we call. The difference with the video you're gonna see is we do it in the dark now. Back in the day, we're doing it outside. Now we pour our bees in dark. So it's really, really helped to keep the bees calm and make sure we're not losing our first round of bees that are older bees before the brood come out with the first mating of the queen. We get our bees in these cages, 35 pounds of bees in every of these cage in bulk. So that's what we're very privileged in California is I can buy 5,000 pounds of bulk bees from my neighbor. So I don't even touch my hive. So this is a huge benefit, and I understand this is not the reality of Canada. It's really hard to start your own production. But these bees are from my partnership. He has very clean bees, very amazing, were his main business, and he delivered from batches of 600-700 pounds of bees to us to start our nukes. This is what we do. It's really quick. I didn't know how to slow it down. So what we're seeing here is, we'll start it again. But we have our nukes set up one by one, so we don't have to move. You have one person putting the cells. Second person is feeding in these little feeders. The third person is putting the bees in it, and the fourth is closing them. So when the cells is in it, the bull bees right away spore on it, and it's not being moved from that place for 3 days until it's bring to the yard. Now, as I said, we do it in the yard, so it's way easier. See, the boys are basically shaking these bees in that tub, and he's running for his life before the cells get chilled. You see on your right the hen, she just put the cells in, and boom, he's coming. A little water so the bees doesn't fly, and he is filling up about half of a pound of bees in every single corner. We do these. We do about 300 of these boxes per day, so 1,600 side in one pour. So it's a long day.
Can you please repeat the part where you said use water so the bees
Yes.
don't fly?
So you see that ACE water thing? This is obviously brand new, not used for pesticide. Yeah, there is water. So when, see on the lid he's holding, there is bees, and he's gonna bounce them in the next little container on the side. And the guy, as soon as he bounced them, did he do it? Oh boy, gonna give a phone call right now. But normally after they shake the thing, there you go, he's doing it. He spray a gently amount of water so the bees doesn't fly as much. Yeah. We don't have to do it that way anymore. We're in the dark. We have an AC, so we have a room for that. It's dark. We have red light. Everybody, it looks like a rave in this. It's super cool. And then it keeps the nukes really cold. Did you get a question?
Yeah, did you play music?
Oh, yes, yes. All the classic. At the end, we know all each other because when you play your music, people start to know you. So, it's really amazing. The bees like cluster really nicely, and that creates a lot of heat. So to have it in a room with a swamp cooler and AC is saving the bees a lot. We are super respectful with the bees. This is probably the biggest process we do with them that is rough on them, really rough. But know that we're working super hard to lose the less possible bees. I mean, that crazy project came from somebody, that young person, I'm talking about me, yes, that loved the bees and had a dream. I mean, it's what it is, and I found amazing people to follow me in this. So that's the pouring system. We do that for a month, and then all the little 4-way nukes are out, and then they're out in the field. So now what's the challenge is the mating, the weather that we cannot control, the stimulation again, the fixing of the 4-ways, and handling the queens and temperature control. So it's a bit of a resume of everything we talk. We need to stimulate these. If it's raining, you have a chance to go and stimulate them with syrup, very liquid syrup with essential oil to make them go out. Even the temperature is a bit on the edge to go mate. Then when the queen are caught in this beautiful orange bar, they need to be kept in a controlled temperature too. We were part of the CRISAD research about the temperature shift in the shipping with UPS and everything. So we know that it's very important that we keep our queens about in Celsius, 26 Celsius, to not affect the spermatheque.
What's the Fahrenheit?
26 Celsius Fahrenheit would be
78 or 80?
Yeah, 77.
77?
77.6.
Okay, perfect.
So that step, when the queens are mated, the weather did its thing, then it's still our job to keep them alive and healthy in that little cage. So we ship to Canada, so we put 4 young attendants in the cage so they can be shipped to you. We don't catch queen more than 2 days before the shipping. If we do, because we have to, they're banked without attendance, meaning that we have to add the attendance. But we're trying to not do that because we prefer to put attendants or from the same hive. Some other beekeepers would tell me I'm full of, but I really believe that it's better to have the queens that come from the same colony. That's what it looks like. So what's really nice about the 4 ways is how much I can have a look on the pattern. I understand the queen I'm catching at the moment is not the queen who did that pattern, but there is a much more resources, It's a real hive. It's not a fake hive. They got everything they need. The little small one to me are a bit harder to play with. But again, I understand with less boobies, the styrofoam nukes could be interesting. Isolated mating area, as much as possible. I'm in California. I don't have the chance to have environment of some of you guys have, which there is no beekeeper around. I am working hard though. Some picture of where we catch our queens. We try to go in hills and mountain, and we drive. We drive to get to our nukes, but we have a little bit better control on the drones and environment. So I drive to the hills. It's a bit colder in the morning for the nukes, but because I have 4 ways with the nukes, they're super good with the cold, and then they just need that window at 3 or 4 of full heat and sun and drones and parties starting, and they're fine. So
you take your nukes somewhere where it's more isolated, where there's no more other bees around, so you can
Correct.
control that. I want the
most
drones
possible
from this.
Yes. If a beekeeper from California tell you he's totally isolated, I would love to meet that person. So a couple pictures of where we catch. I thought it was just beautiful. And then it's the shipment. So shipment, we use UPS. Why? UPS really had a hard time about 5 years ago. We lost plenty of queens in them. It was very stressful. It's like you did everything, the queens are there, everything is healthy, and you're like, okay, UPS, bye-bye. And they go into a black hole where you have no idea where they are until they come out of the other way. And now UPS, we work with them. We work with other beekeepers in California and talk with them and form some people at UPS. And now I have the chance to actually know these people and have a better track on my queens. And UPS really, really improved their thing. You can say whatever you want to say about UPS, but they are still with Air Canada, the only carrier that will do it. So without UPS, we are no way to ship queens. So we need to be humble about that one, okay? Because the day that UPS say, you know what, I don't want to do it anymore, it's going to get complicated. So instead of complaining about them a lot, I decided that we should talk with them, and it did help a lot the tracking of the packages. We ship about 3,000 to 4,000 queen a week. Mostly everything comes to Canada, and we have some customer in Florida that like our queen, so we've been working with them a lot too. Export permits. I would need another 45 days to talk about the export permits, but know that there is our part on the export permits where Canada asks us a lot of different tests to run, and we need to go through all of this and to be able to, these paperwork has to be processed every single week for the week following. So it's a net. If you ask why sometimes the Canadian queens is $1 more than the States, it's because of that. We have to go through nightmare in hills and lake to be able to get to these permits sometime. So basically, when we send the queens that week, we're working the same day on the paperwork of the queen we're sending in 10 days. So but it's worth it.
Very
Yeah,
I'm
do you
happy to do
treat
it.
the bees before you ship them?
Treat the bees.
Yeah, with any kind of salad or anything like that, any treatments?
The colony, yes, not the bees in the cage. Yeah, they will test our colonies. They will test every single of these little nooks are coming with 500 bees. This is about what's in the colony. So we work with them. Now they take 500 bees from 2 colonies, so that helps. But yeah, they test and they come every 90 days to make sure that we're still low on mites and etc. But we do not treat the queens when it's in the cage. The colony are, for sure. Conclusion, cool. So I'm in time. I really, really, really like that frame, by the way. This is what we're looking for. It's really like, here it's eggs. It's a bee that is being smart about how she raises her brood and what she has as nutrition. And that's really what we're working on. And I think you understand when I'm saying that is because if you go to 6 months of winter or 6 weeks of drought in California, if they don't slow down on their brood, they will just go to their, or the beekeeper is gonna feed and treat for mites. And this is not the goal. I mean, if you're in pollination in almonds, you don't want my queen. You're like, what? There's no population in your queens, but they survive. My rate of survival is super high compared to we have a big crash out in the state 2 years ago. I lost 30%, which seems to be a lot, but it's nothing. So, and the reason is these bees are able to go to 2 framers, all with enough food, all there, not too much mites because they didn't breed cycle of mites. And then the honey come and the flow come, the season come, and then they bloom. And that's where I am after for. And then I would be a fool to not talk about, in conclusion, my amazing team. So I have amazing people that believe in the same goal as me, that been following me for 7, 8 years. We have a lot of fun, we work really hard, and we really share the same vision. And without these people, honestly, I could not do what I want to do. So I really appreciate my team and the clients. You guys are part also of that goal and team, so I appreciate you a lot.
Like when you set out all your queens for fertilization, where do all the drones come from? Like that's your colonies or?
Good question. So in every single of my mating yard, I will have a smaller yard location within 2 miles, I would say, with a bunch of my drones and my big hives. So I'm carrying only 800 regular hive, which is nothing. They are for drones for our breeding. The thing in California is my neighbor have 5,000, 2,300,000 hives. So his drone comes and made with. I told them, but they still come. So that's where all the drone. And it's a benefit and a problem. It's a problem because I have less of a control on my gene pool, but that's why I'm always making sure that the queens you guys are getting are F2s, meaning not F16, meaning that the first breeder was not inbred and was pure coming out of different anodistic. And then I didn't mention that. I'm not a scientific. I'm just a person that love bees, but I have a scientific people behind me that analyze my breeder and tell me, oh, you have a very high pool gene variation in pool genes, and they help me to select better, not just with my guts.
And so getting back to the drones,
Yes.
I'm still very curious about the drone part. So do you manipulate a colony to produce more drones?
So in a smaller environment, yes, the answer is yes, you can put brood frame in it, yes. But you have to picture where I'm from that there is more drone than butterfly in the sky. Yeah.
Yeah.
But in a yes, the answer yes, you can put drones, but then you're breeding mites. You know.
Yeah, I guess I was kind of curious.
Yeah. But if you do something small in an isolated area, you absolutely have to make sure you have enough drones for the mating, because there is no queen that is wrongly mated that will be good no matter what you do. So it's very important.
I'm going to leave that up to you. I'm just curious.
Sure. Any other question? Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen some queens advertised as vaccinated against AFB.
Yeah.
Is it a real thing or just a gimmick?
No, it's a real thing. We were part of research actually. So we were one of the first beekeeper that introduced the vaccine. They don't want us to use vaccine. What's the word? Inoculation.
Yeah, vaccine sounds horrible.
Sounds COVID. So it's absolutely real. I mean, it's a kind of a simple process when you're not the one who discover it. It's the dead virus in powder that they're eating, basically, that go from their fat body to. So we introduced all our queens for that season were vaccinated queen, and we don't have fall brood in California. So why did you help Caroline then if you don't have the problem? The thing is, we are still carrying the spores. We're still carrying the virus itself. It's just it doesn't develop because we don't have the weather for the fall brood to develop. So what I could observe for Dallin, it was not, is it curing it? Is it making your bees better in general? And I have to say, I saw a difference with my bees. They were ready. They were ready to pop. They were ready to swarm. They were a bit more healthy. So that's where we come from. So it's not a scam. It's a real thing. I think it could be interesting for Canada. Dallin has just to make it easy and accessible. That's on their side to do that.
So are you still doing the inoculations or
Yeah.
or you are continuing to do it every in the spring?
Yes, but it's from food. It's from patties and food. So it was like a process of, at first when we started, it was a super complicated process. It was like 5 different type of candies with different dosage, and then the queens has to stay in the dark, and that was rough. But now the last news I heard lately is it's just a queen cage. The queen cage has a different candy that has the vaccine in it, and you can just ship them to your client like this. So if it's the truth, that's pretty easy. If my clients say, I really want that in Canada, we'll be happy to just have a freezer with queen cages that have the vaccine and a freezer that doesn't have it. That's fine with us. But back in the days, it was more than that, and it was starting to be,
If you're buying bulk bees, how many production colonies do you have to run to produce that many queens?
If I was producing my own bull bees,
No, you are buying bulk bees, so I'm just curious, how many production colonies do you run?
10,000.
So you still need, even with 10,000?
No, my hives colony is 10,000 side for queens. I'm running 800 hive, nothing. I'm not running a lot of hive. I'm running enough hive for brood and for drones. Like, I'm sorry, but I don't mind about honey. I don't mind about pollination. I'm running these bees so my queen production is healthy, and this is why I bought bull bees. I would probably have to own 5,000 to 6,000 hive to shake my own bull bees, but then it's another way I don't want to go. Yeah, everybody has their own niche, and yeah. Right. Well, thank you so much.